Hi, my name is Maya, and I have Asperger's. I was diagnosed when I was 10 years old. I was actually my mom told me that I was diagnosed a few times. First time I was diagnosed, it was weird. I wasn't. I don't think I was I was even in the same room as my mom and dad when they went to go. When they heard about when they went to go see the person who was diagnosing me. And what I was first diagnosed with was severely and emotionally disturbed, and my mom was so pissed off that I think what she said is she gave the woman the middle finger and left, and my dad was just kind of like speechless. And so I couldn't imagine how that would have been if I would have been labeled that. I mean, I probably would have had a lot more, I probably would have been bullied a lot more than I was. And, I think that you're kind of dealt some of the challenges and obstacles that you're given so that you can grow. And that's what I did. But like I said, I had to go through that through being diagnosed and just feeling so isolated because I didn't know how to handle myself. I didn't know, it seems so easy to other people who are on the outside of me that I could just walk up to somebody and ask them a question. But on the inside, I couldn't piece it together at all. And having Asperger's is what I have, as what I really struggled with when I was a kid, up until I still have struggles, but they were a lot heavier back when I was in school, because there's a lot of different things that I had just newly experienced. So it's like the first impression of something it can be kind of big, and it could be kind of explosive, and you don't know what to do, and you might try to rationalize or solve what it might be, because having Asperger's is a developmental delay in social skills, social interactions. When I was a kid and I took speech therapy, I wasn't very good at looking people in the eye, and sometimes that was misinterpreted as being rude and as having ulterior motives, and I mean, all of that stuff that, like, I thought was, were my intentions. It really got to me, and it really, like, it made me second guess myself. When people see the outside of me, they couldn't imagine me second guessing myself. They see me as being, having confidence and having having courage, and you know, and the reality is that I can actually feel a lot more vulnerable in social situations than it appears that is happening. And so when I go out into the world, when I go to school or I go to the store, if it's a place that I'm not used to being in, then it takes me a little longer to process. And so, out of habit, when I was a kid, I get in the habit of trying, because I was around a lot of adults. You know, I talk to adults about a lot more things than I talk to people my age, because I just wasn't comfortable with kids my age. I didn't get their thinking. I didn't get their actions. I wasn't the kid who would just scream. I wasn't the kid who would throw a fit. If I did have any type of emotional outburst, I would feel it on the inside, and it would usually make me shut down, because I'd usually I usually be afraid of the fact that I didn't understand it, or I was just afraid of the feeling in general. And because I have Asperger's, and because I have that developmental delay in understanding, like a social response on a verbal or a nonverbal level, I felt like I'd just implode and I'd shut down, and I would feel ashamed, and I couldn't share anything. I couldn't share anything that any negative or uncomfortable feelings I experienced. I couldn't tell it to my mom, because, you know, I saw my mom as being this really independent woman, and the same thing with like my dad. He was a very independent person. He dealt with things on his own. He didn't wanna, like, as they say, burden anybody with their feelings, and that was kind of the same way that I had. And I think my dad also had Asperger's when he was alive, because he was very smart, and there's just some things that he couldn't understand, he couldn't process. And so just, it's hard when you're growing up to be able to piece together things, because you're not an adult, but for some reason there were teachers, authority figures, who would make me feel like I was a lot more adult than I was, because I like to talk to adults, and I like to and I like to have deep discussions, even if I didn't know what I was talking about. I fit in a lot better with adults. So when I was around kids, making friends was really difficult for me because I can make a friend, but if the friend that I had didn't share the same interest as me, because I can get very fixated on something that I really like. If my friend didn't share that, then like I'd feel this strong irritability, and I just feel very I don't know if I'd feel annoyed, if I feel like something was unfair, but I just couldn't handle it, and if it was someone that I was very attached to, I had a hard time going beyond the one-on-one interaction. It was easier for me to process that when I was a kid and when I was a teenager, because I was still a late bloomer, you know, to forming relationships with people. I couldn't. I just felt really unstable in social situations. So like if I got really close to somebody, and like, you know, in public in front of other people, I just feel like I'd either get lost in that person, or like I would get I just felt like a mess. Like I couldn't speak clearly. I couldn't think clearly. I kind of lost it. And in those moments, like, I just feel really like bad, and I would feel really powerless, because like I'd ask myself, like I wonder, you know, why is it that I don't have as much control as I want to have? And I was a kid. Like, I was a kid, and the way that people influenced me was very powerful. You know, in social situations, I put on a mask that I was in control of everything, that I understood everything. I wanted people to see that I could turn this around. And as a kid, you can't really control everything. You can't keep everything all smooth. You try to, but you kind of fall apart at the seams. You know, it's weird, and yet it's a blessing to look back at what I struggled with, because everybody on the spectrum isn't going to be entirely the same. Their experiences as a whole just make them into a different person, and that's just a part of life. There's no two people are going to be completely the same. They might be very similar, They even could be twins, but like, they're never going to be completely the same. And for me, having Asperger's, it took me a while to not to accept that there's going to be people who are not going to understand me because I may appear like I'm this one person, but I'm not. I have different shades. And that's not bad. You know, I think a personality, it needs to have different layers of growth. And I'm one of those people with Asperger's who figured out somewhere that I wanted to be the best person that I could possibly be. That I focus all that fixed energy on being the person that I want to be with. Using my self-awareness to actually show people a person that would make me feel the most loved. And honestly, it's taken me a while to be able to really process this, but like, my family, as much as I probably didn't see it for a while, my family have been the ones who have given me the most support, who have pushed me and never given up on me, even when they might have given up on themselves in some way, shape, or form. And that has made me really strong in ways that I didn't know. And, you know, music is a big part of my life because my dad, he played music when I was, from the time when I was little baby up until when I was, I graduated from high school. And so it's just a big factor in my life. If I didn't have music, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. But like, I think the older I get, the more I really start to embrace the fact that I'm not like everyone else. It's okay. And that I hope that the other people on the spectrum one day feel like they can embrace that too. Because it's a beautiful thing. It's what makes you feel comfortable in your own skin. And if you can't, then you're just going to feel really irritable and restless, like you don't have any purpose, and that change is just too scary. And it's not. And for having Asperger's, it seems like a typical trait is you kind of fear change, and you fear too much movement, but like there's something autistic about for me about needing movement. yearning for movement, and it's what makes me feel alive. And another thing that I love doing is I love to create art, and that's the thing that gives me, that teaches me patience, because sometimes you might not have a whole lot of it in the world, because you might feel like not enough people believe in you, when in actuality you need to learn how to believe in yourself. You can't depend on people, and you figure that out the hard way, that no matter how hard you try, you need to be the one to forgive yourself and to believe in yourself, because you can lift yourself up a whole lot more than other people can sometimes. So I'm going to stop for now, but I will continue. I really look forward to expressing my feelings and my thoughts about my struggles having Asperger's. I hope you have a great night, and I hope you start to follow my channel, because I'd love to hear from other people on the spectrum, or parents who are struggling to understand their kids, or struggling with to find a good diagnosis that works for your kids, or even as parents having Asperger's, like if you've finally gotten a good diagnosis, how that feels, how you process that. Please let me know. Bye.